Hello, let's take a look at the Paladins. They are solid buckler shield units with very good damage and tankiness and ability to heal your allies. You can unlock them in the Season 4 challenges or in the unit tree. You can also increase their piercing damage and health. Their main feature is raised shield stance. When you press V, they move slowly, and when they block enemy attack, they counter attack, which deals a lot of damage and dazes units. They also get 36% damage reduction when they are in this stance. Additionally, with Mastery, the counter attack knocks down enemy units. They have two skills, the charge and the heal. The charge is very weak. I would advise to use it only to reposition your unit. On the other hand, the healing is very good. It not only heals paladins, but also allied units around for 8% of their health, so you can get a lot of value if you stick with your team. Paladins also get additional healing and damage reduction for the next few seconds. And with the mastery, when the healing is active, enemy melee units also get bleed damage when they hit paladins. With all that considered, when you take a look at the veterancy, I think the top line is better because it reduces the cooldown of healing by 10 seconds. Bottom line just focuses on giving them more defenses. Reducing the cooldown of healing puts it at around 20 seconds cooldown, which allows you to use it multiple times per fight. As for the Doctrines, I think a good focus would be on their block. Because when they block, they get counter attacks, so you want more block so they won't get block broken. There are only two doctrines which can help with that, the anti-infantry doctrine and the rare sword doctrine, which just increases block. Other than that, the leadership is obviously a good option, and personally I took the battle prayer cooldown reduction. Maybe it's only 2 seconds, but sometimes it makes a difference between your paladins living or dying. But it's a personal choice. You couldn't go wrong with more defenses or damage reduction. And for the last two slots, I have the Noble Blood Doctrine to give them some damage reduction and damage increase. And in last slot, I opt for the Iron Sights. It's because when the healing is active, they are very tanky, and when the healing ends, I can use the Iron Sights to boost their defenses to let them survive until the healing goes off the cooldown. I don't think using any charge related doctrines is good on them because, as I said, charge is very weak. I think their damage output is pretty good even without any damage doctrines, so making sure that they survive between the healing cooldown is a pretty good idea. If you want more damage, I would go with the unit damage doctrine or the epic sword doctrine, and because the counter attack deals blunt damage, and these are the only way you can increase it. Okay, so let's take a look at what they do. They have 3 formations. Most of the time I use F2 because it's kinda spread out and you don't really want to group them up like with this shield wall formation, because if they are grouped, then some hero can just hit all of them in the back, and why allow that? That's why I prefer the spread out formation. Additionally, when you press V, they will spread by themselves, and I think having them like all over the place is much better because it allows them to catch enemy attacks in the wider area. So if someone swings and hits their block, they hit him with the counter attack. So I think having them like spread out all over the place is just better. So let's take a look at this charge and why I think it's pretty weak. So when they charge, you can see that there is a pretty long animation before they even do anything. So in that time they can easily die. I already lost some models because they don't have all of these bonuses which they have. They have shields up. So yeah, I think like using the chart to just make a contact with enemies and then like pressing V is a much better option. Yes, because then immediately you can do the huge counter attack like with the all stacked paladins. But it's a very aggressive way of playing, so don't do it if there is a lot of enemies because they can just burst all your paladins down in a second. Usually what we want to do, you just move them closer to enemies, and when you are about to make a contact, you use healing to make use of the bleed damage and additional defenses. And make sure to cancel the healing animation because it's pretty long. Just press 2, V, and they will get healing without any animation. So one more thing about formations to be aware of. In F3 they will just stand there, but if you use F2 or F1, they will eventually go after enemies by themselves. So if you park your paladins at bottom of the wall and there are enemies on top, they will try to go up the wall to fight them. So if you just want to make sure they don't go anywhere, just press F3. Another thing to keep in mind is that the way you used to use paladins was just moving them to enemies and spamming XV to reset their attack. But currently you don't really want to do it, because when you press X, you disable their shielded stance, right? So they lose the damage reduction and all the counter attack and everything. So just keep them in the V, let them move by themselves. But if you are winning and you just want to chase somebody, then you can do the XV, put them in F3 formation on hero which got CC'd, and if you do it and press V, you will just one-shot him, because all paladins will instantly hit him. So yeah, and basically you use this technique to execute somebody, but you don't want to do it when there is a lot of enemies and you will take a lot of damage. Alright, so let me give you a small example of how do I use them in normal match. We have the situation where enemies try to push down the stairs. First thing, you want to be with your allies to give them healing. Basically, you know, the more allied units are around, the more healing you give, right? So it's a good idea to not go solo. So what I do there, I don't go too aggressive. I stay downstairs, I just press V and let paladins go at their own pace. But as the Spartans push back them, I press X to move some paladins closer so they can actually attack. But not too aggressive, because, you know, there is a lot of enemies, so if I went too far forward, I would just lose many of them because they wouldn't have a block, they would just get bursted down. I just move a little bit closer so some paladins have them in range, do some damage and move back. Also make sure to use healing every time it's off cooldown. At this point it looked like there is just way more enemies than there are allied units, and we are coming close to the top of the stairs, so there was a risk of the traps, so I just went back. So in summary, paladins are pretty good right now, and I recommend unlocking them, especially that now they are available in the unit. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you found this video useful. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you in the next one.